All right, welcome back. We are at day 5, your email nurturing series. So just to recap a little bit, we've built the landing page, developed your lead magnet, set up your autoresponder email that delivers the lead magnet, if you remember that, ran at least one Facebook ad, and hopefully have a little bit of stats in to look at. So now, if you want to pause your ad, you can, or you can keep running it if you want, depending on how fast you're going to write up your email nurturing series. Because you don't want to wait too long. If you are getting any leads in your Facebook ad, you want to strike while the iron's hot. If you wait too long, like a week or more, before you send them a follow-up series, it's they quickly become colder and colder and colder. So right now, when you do get a lead through your lead magnet and you've delivered your lead magnet, usually people consider that a warm lead, or perhaps even a cold lead at best. It's certainly not a hot lead because they're not just itching to buy yet, they're just kind of curious. So that's where this nurturing email series comes in place. So nurturing meaning you're guiding them along, you're giving them more information, you're making them more comfortable with you and getting them to trust you and tell about your product and that you're the right person that has the right information or the right service or the right product. You're not just some guy trying to sell something, anything. So I want to take just a little bit of time to go over this. That's why it's only one thing today, but it will take just a little bit of time. And so why don't we just get started? So this is an email series that you can, a PDF that I put together that you can download. It's in your email that you got for this day, day 5. And it's just some general, but I think really good place to start on what type of emails to write, why certain types of emails are important, and when to send them. And you are certainly welcome, and I encourage you to play around with this and develop your own series that you think works for you. So this is not a set in stone guide that you must do it this way. On top of that, every industry and product is going to be different. There are other email series out there that do much different things than this one does, but this is just a good general thing for most people to start with if they're just trying to sell a product or service. This is really good for if you've tried to write emails and they just don't work. You're kind of wondering why, and you're throwing a few out there, and maybe one day, and then a week later, and then a month later, and then 2 in one day, and you just don't know what is kind of going on. So this is a good structured way to understand some marketing methodology behind that madness, and then you want to extend beyond that. So I don't want to read every last word in this. It's a little bit long. So I'm just going to hit some of the benefits, and then I'm going to show you some examples. I'm going to hit some of the bullet points, and then I'll show you some examples that I came up with. So very quickly, so I kind of have addressed some of this already. So you've got a window of opportunity, generally about 2 to 3 weeks maximum. And after that, they're going to fall off your radar. And if you send, have you ever gotten an email a month or 2 later and you're just going, who is this? What is this? I don't know who this is. I don't even remember this. So long ago in internet time. So keep your window kind of tight. I see that mistake a lot where they're afraid they're going to bother people too quickly. But I don't want to be too sharp, but who cares? You're here to sell them a product, and if they're not going to buy it, they're not going to buy it. They'll be out of your list. You'll never speak to them again. That's fine. They just didn't want your product. But those who are kind of interested, now's the time to get them to buy. So how often? I suggest about every 2 to 3 days. So that's one email, let's say every 3 days. So you've got 7 emails, let's say it's 21 days. Some people, really aggressive marketers, will do 1 or even 2 per day. I think that's too much. I think that's too aggressive. I think 2 to 3 is kind of the sweet spot. I think anything longer than that is you're waiting too long. Okay, so I started off this series by talking about subject lines before the meat of the emails, and this is really important because think about it. What's the first thing people see when you're looking in your inbox, what's the first thing you see? You see the subject line and possibly who it's from, but more importantly, you read the subject line. What is it about? That's the determining factor that's going to make you decide if you want to open that email or not. So if nobody's opening your email, who cares what's on the inside? It's pointless. It could be empty. It could be the greatest thing ever, but your subject line failed. And so that's why you really want to think about your subject lines and write them well. And you're going to do a lot of experimenting. Every major marketer out there goes nuts over subject lines in a good way, because they understand that, like I said here, if you could do, if you could change a verb or a noun and increase your open rate by 10%, you would be doing this every day, all day. So that's why I make this the first thing you want to think about. Plus, it'll inform what the actual meat of your email is going to be, so you don't ramble on and say things you don't need to say. So it keeps you kind of on the straight and narrow. So there are 7 basic types or categories, or whatever you want to call it. There are many more. This is just kind of a smattering of the good old standbys. So self-interest. So again, what's the benefit for your reader? In other words, what's in it for you? So in this case, these are just some examples. So get 90% more leads with this proven method. So the benefit they get is they get 90% more leads. So I'm telling them what they get. It's a selfish need. Not what's good for you, the seller, but what's good for your reader. Curiosity. So this works well. So in this case, this offers a curiosity of what might be in the email if they open. So you want them to kind of think about it, stop and think, and go, all right, I'm going to click it because I just got to know what that's about. It's how we doubled our sales and what we learned. So I'd be curious to find out how they did that if that's what I want to learn. So an offer, this is pretty straightforward. It can be a discount, a free sample, a product, something you're offering. It could even be, that's enough. So some kind of discount or something free. So here's our free guide to better conversions. So even though you gave them a lead magnet, which was a free guide, you could give them something else that's free, or a blog post or something like that. Urgency, scarcity. So this is the ticking time. I've only got 30 seats left in our webinars. Sign up today. You don't want to lie or mislead to your leads if you don't actually have only 30 seats left. Sometimes if I have an auto webinar, I never say there's only 3 seats left. I say something like seats are filling up fast, which is true. So I don't always, because you can have as many people as you want on most of those, or you'll never max out on them. Unless you are maxing out on your webinars, and great, you've only got 30 left, then you're doing something right. So this is the humanity one, and I certainly wouldn't put this up front. I would put this towards the end, maybe even the end. And this is just a very simple, what I call the happy holidays. This is the simple, the seller, am I sharing a piece, or if I'm the company, I'm sharing just a piece of my values, what I believe in, nothing too personal, but just to connect and say, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just want to reach out and say thanks and have a happy holidays, or whatever you want to say. And I've really seen people respond really, really well to this. Even though they're not buying anything, you've got them really hooked in. So don't discount that, but don't put it at the front of your email series, because it's just not going to be very useful there. News. So this is something, if something big or interesting is happening with your business or company, like you're on a new podcast episode, you've been sponsored in a magazine somewhere, you're going to be on the actual news, or you've been through some kind of interview, or you just released a new book. That's what this is all about. So it's about, just, hey, this new thing happened, come check it out. So this is similar in the humanity in that you're not necessarily trying to sell something, although you can. But again, it's just another way to keep them interested in opening your emails. That's the most important thing. You want them to keep opening until they buy, and in the future you're going to continue to sell them, which is one of the factors why building this list is so important, is that you're not just trying to sell this one thing, you're trying to keep these people for a lifetime. And that's not an exaggeration, to a certain extent I guess it is, but the real marketers out there have people on their list for 5, 10, 15 plus years, because they build so much trust and deliver so much That's how they make their money. That's why I had you go through all this trouble setting up these autoresponder series and all this stuff, is because emails are where your real mega sales over time add up. Social proof. So this can be anything from testimonials, or like I have here, 10,000 downloads last month and counting. So I say if there were 10,000 people downloading your product, you must be doing something right, and I'd like to get on board with that. So this is something that makes me go, wow, this is really interesting. It's okay to brag a little bit. You know, you company X did this, and then I want to open that email and find out what that is, because I think that's interesting. So like I say, there's literally thousands of subject lines, and this is just a place to start. Here's just a quick pro tip. If one of your emails has a low open rate, it's probably due to your subject line. Try something just completely different. So if it's just not working, don't try to tweak at this point the small things. Keep trying something different. You know, if you used a news one, try a social proof. If you tried a humanity, try an urgency. Don't start the small tweaking until you start getting some decent open rates. We'll talk about that later. Okay, so now for the sales copy, I'll just hit these big bullet points and I'll show you some examples. So even though I'm calling this email 1, technically it's day 2, and that, like I said, in this case it's right after this autoresponder email. So I've already set this off, and not that this isn't important, but it's okay to be just kind of simple and basic and give them the lead magnet, because you're going to hit them the next day with the good stuff. So this is just a way to reconnect. So remind them that you've just sent them the information, and so they remember who you are and don't think you're a spammer, and you offer them another chance to offer your actual sales product. So let me skip down here. So I've just kind of made a, we're going to go with this fictitious digital marketing agency, and the product they're selling is an AdWords masterclass. So for those of you who are not familiar with AdWords, they are the ads that you see when you type in a keyword up here and they say ad, This is a whole nother world we're not going to get into, but it can be lucrative for people that know how to manipulate these and really make these work well. And a lot of people are out there searching on how to do that. So just so you understand what that is. So this fictitious guy or agency is offering this class to do that very well. So my email 1, again, I just kind of jotted these out last night. Reconnect. So the subject, I'm using the offer one in this case. You wouldn't put that in your subject line. I'm just putting that for you. This guide shows you how to write ads that convert fast. So I'm just getting to the point and reminding them about the PDF, and just to kind of get your foot in the door again, because they may have already forgotten who you are because they may have been searching around. So did you get a chance to read the PDF I sent you? Here it is again. You can provide a link right there. As promised, this guide will show you how to write ads, etc. And here's where I say I'm going to talk about my new product. If you're ready to supercharge your AdWords campaigns to start making some real money, I'm offering a 3-hour AdWords Masterclass webinar that will take your business to the next level. I tell them what I'm going to show them inside of it. It's kind of like the features, so to speak. And here I say it's filling up fast, and then this will be a link to sign up to your actual product that you're selling. Okay? So that's the first email. Email 2, so I'm saying day 5, so 3 days later. This is the benefits. So the benefits, it's kind of a bullet point list of what's in it for them. So again, remember the big distinction between benefits and features. Benefits are, how is this going to help me? It's not a detail about your product. So this product is going to get my computer to run faster. It's going to give me easy access to files anywhere. It's going to secure storage for peace of mind, for some examples. So my case for our AdWords Masterclass, I'm using the self-interest model. So I'm saying, make AdWords work for you instead of against you. So again, what's in it for me? It's going to make AdWords work for me instead of against me, because AdWords is kind of difficult if you know. And then I remind them again about the ad or the lead magnet I sent them. You don't have to, but I put that in there. And then I reiterate again that if you're still struggling, this AdWords Masterclass may be right for you. And here's my bullet points of what's in it for you. Still, you'll get better conversion rates, you'll get a higher ROI, you'll get lower CPCs, that's how much things cost, and you'll have more time to focus on your business, family, and friends instead of constantly worrying about your campaigns. So this last one, or something like it, I think is a really good tip, and not to discount, is while people want all these benefits of whatever your product is, they ultimately want the psychological, social results of it. So weight loss is the easiest one. It's not really that I want to lose weight, it's that I want to look good, or I want to feel good. Or if there's a software or a course or an e-product that's going to save me time in some respect, I don't really care about how to do that thing better, but I really want to save time to spend with my family. So you speak to the very end result of what they really want. So like money is an easy one too. I don't really want money. I want all the things that money can give me. Okay, so I think that's clear. And so again, the benefits. Okay, the benefits. So sign up, and then you would put your link here, or maybe the whole thing to your actual product. So number 3, or email 3. So this one, you want to explain how easy it is to use your product. So do you notice a little trend here? You're hitting, everyone responds to things differently. They're not going to always respond to, what's in it for me. They're not going to respond to that. Some will, some won't. So they may skip, that person may hit and buy your product here, but they may skip that because that doesn't speak to them. Because they may be concerned about how easy a product is to use. They may think it's difficult. So you want to tell them how easy it is. And this could be, if you have a teaching program, or you're trying to get them in the door. If you have like a physical location, say something simple like, all you have to do is click this button. Or all you have to do is walk in and we'll take care of the rest. All you have to do is present this coupon. You want to make it find the easy points of your product and really build those up. So here I'm using self-interest again. It's one of my favorites because it works well, because we're all a little bit selfish, aren't we? And that's okay. So 3 hours will save you 3 years of pain and suffering. So I'm purposely saying that it's 3 hours because I don't want to lie to them. It's a length of time, but I'm relieving that pain in the same sentence by saying, but it's going to save you a lot of time in the long run. So you spend a little time here, it's really going to take the edge off down the line. So, and I'm addressing that in the body of the email. So I haven't got 3 minutes to spare, let alone 3 hours. And I say, I get it, I guarantee that this class is going to simplify your life and save you so much time. So I'm saying how easy this is going to be. And I reiterate, this has saved my students 3 years of pain and suffering as they struggled. I make it super simple. So again, talking about how easy it is. I focus only on what you really need to know to get profitable today. And nothing too technical, because people are afraid of technology, or getting technical, I should say. And everything you can use immediately. It's actionable immediately. And then you will link to your product here. So now let's go to 4, which would be sent on day 11. So that's what these mean. I'm sending this, again, not set in stone. It's just every 3 days I'm cycling this. Email 4. Show your credentials and or social proof. So this is a chance to brag about your product or your company or yourself, and talk about how great and how many people are responding to your product. So this again is touching on a psychological point of some people they don't care how much you talk about the benefits and easy, or is it making a real impact on other people's lives, yes or no? That's what I want to know in this case. So, how Sarah P. doubled her sales in just 2 weeks. So, fictitious student, Sarah P., she signed up for my webinar last year, and her jewelry site was barely getting by. I'm just paraphrasing. In the webinar, we helped her, and she doubled her her sales. And I reiterate that this isn't just for people with jewelry sites. So you want to reiterate that it's not just for one particular type of person, unless it is, but you keep it as open as you can, and link up somewhere in here to your actual product. Okay. Day 5. So day 5, build value and add bonuses. So here, if they haven't purchased at this point, you need to sweeten the pot a little bit. Throw in a bonus like a free add-on or a discount. So this is where saying, look, your emails, despite how good you've written them, that's just the way it goes. Some people just won't bite, or they just won't open. Sorry, I skimmed past it. They just won't bite, or they just won't open. But if they see something like 10% off or discount ending this Friday, those people that are hesitant to pull the trigger are going to stop on this one. So here we are, 10% off the AdWords Masterclass. So we're offering 10% off if you sign up right now. It's coming up fast, so that's the urgency. And I'll post all these emails, by the way, for you to get to. I know your time and money are important, so that's why I'm offering 10%. I know that AdWords is frustrating, so I'm going to help you out. And let's see, so I'm reiterating what my product does and sign up link. So one thing I want you to notice is the general thrust of these emails is not super long. There's a lot of debate as to should your emails be short, like maybe this short. I think that's too short. Should they be long in the sense that it's 2 or 3 times as long as this? I personally think those are too long unless you've got some super compelling content and you've got a super engaged audience. But for warm leads, you really just want to get the highlights and get out. The longer it is, they're going to not read it and just skip it because they're just going to go, I don't have time to read this. If it's too short, they're going to think it's not very important. They're going to think, well, this person was too lazy to write more than 2 lines. It must not be that great a product. So to me, somewhere in this range is the happy medium. So play with that. So now we're on email 5, so day 14. That's 2 weeks from the initial sign up. Build value. Oh wait, sorry, I already did that one. So email 6, that's day 17. It's the reminder warning email. So now you got to turn up the heat a little bit. You did a little bit back here. You're turning it on even more because they're getting farther and farther away from their initial touch point, and you got to sales it up a little bit. So remind them that whatever you just offered is going to be ending soon, and they got to bite now, or it's going to go away. So let's look at email 6. So I'm using the urgency scarcity model. Ends Friday, 10% off AdWords Masterclass. And be honest, some people will say, oh, you can just perpetually add 10%. It doesn't really end Friday. People will know, and people will find out, and they'll make comments somewhere, and then your credibility goes downhill fast. Some of the best marketers have really honed this in and told me this, that your credibility means a lot. So if you're not going to end it on Friday, don't say Friday. So moving on. So again, you can be friendly about it. So just a friendly reminder, hey, this is ending soon. The price is going to go back up, and so make sure it does. And it doesn't mean you can never offer a deal again. It just means within this time frame, don't just keep running it perpetually. So emphasizing that this is really going to change their life. You really got to get on board with this and kind of give them a little bit of bolster that you took a bold step to build your business, and you just need one more bold step. And it took me years to learn this, and you're going to get it all in a short amount of time. And link to your product here. So email 7. So this is a reconnect. You're just reminding them you're at the end of this cycle in this case, why they signed up, why they got the lead magnet PDF in the first place, and remind them the problem that they were trying to solve. So in this case, weight loss I used here. So I know you wanted to lose weight fast, and I wanted to help you, and my product will help you do just that. I'm kind of paraphrasing there. Someone who would be a lead for this type of business, this AdWords Masterclass, is someone who's probably struggling with their business and writing ads that convert. And that's what AdWords is about, and that's what his webinar is designed to solve. So again, I know you wanted to learn how to grow your business by writing better AdWords ads. That's why you downloaded my free guide. So I'm reminding them, I'm reconnecting. And I really hope that it helped. And it's been my experience with just a little bit of extra knowledge, you can succeed. And reminding them that this person was there, he or she was here, right where they were struggling, and it took them the hard way to learn it, but they're going to give it to you the easy way. So, and then I'm kind of giving it to them one last time, like, are you really prepared to 2x or even 3x your business? So I'm not being too nice. I'm saying, look, this is, don't be stupid. Take this opportunity. You're gonna wish you didn't pass this up. And link to your business, and that's the end of this series. So there's you can read over this in detail. Again, there's a link to it in the email you get for day 5. So next, I'm going to show you how to load these up in your Aweber. Okay, so now let's go back to Aweber, and we're going to plug in the emails into Aweber so you can get an idea of how to do that quickly and how to set it up to deliver your sequence. So first, if you remember, this was the first one we made. If you're not here, you just go to Legacy Follow-Up Series, and that'll take you to the screen. And then you can just click the subject line or whatever it says there. So let's just change this one because we know this is our autoresponder one. And just for demos, I'm going to put because remember, in this case, we were sending an AdWords guide. And then for our purposes, I'm just going to put, so that you know that this is the autoresponder email. Okay, you would erase that, of course, for your real email. So now, let me pull up my emails. Okay, so here is our first email. So what we want to do is create a message, and remember, we can either use the drag and drop, the plain text, or the HTML editor. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with using plain text if you don't want to mess with this other stuff. Lots of marketers use plain text, and it can be very effective because sometimes it looks just like, if you're trying to just chat to your friend, you would just chat a plain text message. But since we've already set up this basic template, which I think is good as well, the easiest thing to do, instead of going up here to create a message, since we've already created one, is I'm just going to copy this. So copy to drafts. Okay, so now it's moved it to the draft, so we're just going to click that. And you can also get there by just going here in the drafts menu. So let's change this by clicking into it. And we've got our subject line here. I'm just going to copy and paste. And you can choose to use an image or not. I'm just going to keep this here for simplicity. I think you should only add an image if it helps to reinforce what you've got in your email. So if it doesn't, and you're just putting it there to have an image, then it's just kind of wasted space. So you be the judge. I think it's perfectly fine to remove it or add it. So this case, it's a computer. It's about a computer software related project, so I'm just going to leave it there. Okay, so we didn't talk about headlines. So you can just delete this if you don't want it. Or what I often do is just take the subject line and pop it in here. And you can capitalize these letters, title case those if you want, or leave it like that. But sometimes that works, or you can reduce the size, whatever you want. For speed of this demo, I'm not going to spend too much time tweaking those elements. And of course, you'd have your own logo here instead of this Valentine's Day one. Alright, so I'm just going to copy and paste the body in. Just select all this, delete, paste. So in this case, let me actually do this again. So I want to delete, right click, and in my case I have paste and match style if you have that. Okay, so I'm just going to break up this text so it looks the way I want it. And I'm going to make these into actual bullet points. So just up here at the top, there's numbers or bullets. Click that. Get rid of those dashes. And I think I'm going to bold this. And I'm going to bold and italicize this because it was a title. And then we want to put our link anywhere here, just make it obvious, and then you'll just go up here to where this link icon is, type in whatever sales page you want to take them to, whatever it is that you want them to either sign up for your product or buy your product, send them there. And I like to make it blue, so you just click this here. Most email clients will make this blue automatically like a regular link, but I just like to make sure. So let's save this and then preview and test and send that away, and I'll be right back with my email. So here's my email. So you see it's got the subject line, it's got our nice picture, the headline of the email, and all the content, and if this were a real link it would take me to that link. Pretty easy, right? So now that we've created it, this is in the test area, you can either go back if you need to make changes, or you can just click save and exit down here on the right. So what you can do, you have two options here. If you have people on your list already, I would build out all your emails in your drafts area first and then push them to the regular area, which I'll show you how to do. But if you don't have anybody yet and you're just starting out, or maybe you just have one or two and it doesn't matter, then what you want to do is go to send options. So let's look back at our email guide. So day 1, so that's the second day right after the autoresponder email. So I'm going to go to send options. I want to add to follow-up series. It's going to ask me how many days after the previous one that I just sent. So we just sent the autoresponder email, if you remember, and I want this to come right the next day, so one day after. And you can just leave this, you can just leave this ticked so you can get some stats, or if you have other linking tracking measures already in place, you can undo that. You know what that's about, but it's fine to just leave that alone. And then click add to follow-up series. So this took me out of the drafts section and into the legacy follow-up series, which is your main area. And here's our autoresponder. Like you see here, it's send immediately. And this is good to have a 0 spam score, of course. And then here's our second email that goes out one day after the previous message. Okay, do you see how this is shaping up? So let's go and make another one. So I'm just going to copy any of these. I'm just going to copy this one. And then click drafts, because that's where it is now. And click the email. And let's go down to email 2. Grab the subject, copy and paste over that old one. And while I've got it, I'm going to just change title. And I'm going to grab the body. Delete, right click, paste and match style, or whatever your computer says, and just clean this up a little bit. And make these real bullet points. And I just like to make that stand out a little bit. What else did we do here? Okay. Bold. So you don't want to go too crazy with bolds and underlines and italics. So just be cautious of that. I only recommend pulling out a few items because otherwise it just looks kind of crazy on your eyes, and you don't want to distract people from what the content says. So then we want to put our link to the same exact sales page we did in the previous email. So remember, every single one of these emails is going to one product. In this case, it's our AdWords Masterclass as the demo. And I'm going to make it blue and save. And then preview and test. Send a test, and I'll be right back. And here's our second email. And looks pretty good. And there's your link to your product. So I want to go save and exit. And then, so remember, we're in our drafts area right now. So I want to click send options, add to follow-up series. Let's go back to our guide. So this is day 2, the benefits. It's so 3 days after this one up here. So it's day 5 from their first touch point. So let's just click 3, add to follow-up series. Okay, so we got our autoresponders number 1. 1 day after is this next one. 3 days after this one is that. So there's 3, 4, the 5th day. One little note here, if you ever want to change the order of these, so if I drag this up, just grab that, put it in place. The thing you got to remember is it won't change the send date. You got to go back in and edit that to make sure you're sending in the right order. That's just a little trick. So I'm going to pause the video and populate the rest of these so you don't have to watch me. They're all exactly the same as what I just did, and then I'll show you the whole thing. Okay, so I've populated all of the emails up so you can see what yours will look like. And again, it's just your immediate one, 1 day after that, and then after that I've staggered them 3 days out. Again, you can do whatever intervals you want. I wouldn't wait too long because you remember this whole series is going to be, in this case, about 21 days. And so that's plenty of time. This is also a good opportunity to get an overview of your subject lines. If you think the flow is not right, now's a good time to change that. Since we don't have anybody on our list, we don't have any open rates. So what I'm going to do is pause again and just populate my list a little bit with some demo emails and open a few and not open a few so you can kind of see what this looks like. And so I can show you some of the stats and how to look at those. Okay, so I put in a bunch of test emails so you can get an idea of what's going on here. So there's a couple ways you can look at this. You can look at each one individually, which is sometimes useful if you want to know some details about that particular person. So the last follow-up that this person received was the autoresponder, and they filled out the form on this page. It's kind of hard to see, but that's the same template page that we've been working on, and they sent the follow-up. It's just confirming that here. And if I look at the next one down, so I just clicked on a few of these and not other ones. So again, they got this. They opened this one, so you can see that this person opened this. So if they opened all 7, you'd see a long list of all 7 that were opened. And it also shows you when they were sent. And this one, so sent but didn't open. Let's see if I opened any of these other ones. Oops. So yeah, see, I sent, opened this, sent, opened. So that's one way to look at it. The other way is if you go to reports. This is only going to really be useful when you have kind of a lot of data to look at. I'm not going to go over all of these reports, so you can just kind of play with them. But let's find an easy one. So let's say we'll look at monthly new subscribers. So I'm not going to get too deep into the stats and what they mean, because it's really not going to mean anything to you until you have stats to work with. But just suffice it to say, let's go back to an easier screen to look at. So you see these stats are updating because I've opened some of these. So this is usually my first glance rather than the reports. So it just gives me a real general view of each email and how it's performing. So 100% of these people opened. Of course, it's only one. 38% opened. And these haven't been delivered yet because the days haven't passed yet, but these would populate as well. So what's a good open rate? It's really going to depend. Obviously, the closer to 100 you can get, the better. I would say if you're only getting, say, a 20% or lower, that's the time when I mentioned try rewriting your subject line only, and keep rewriting that until you bump up that open rate above 20% and higher. That's just kind of a rule of thumb. It's going to be a judgment call. But yeah, so that's how you set up your follow-up series. After we followed our guide here on emails to write. Very quickly, you got your autoresponder, your immediate one after that the next day, and then either 2 or 3 days. You can stagger these however you want. You can add more emails in here. You can decrease if you've got something that's got to sell really fast. You can try that. And then once the series is done, that we didn't really talk about, is that's not the end of it. Wait a while, like, a few weeks, maybe a month, and hopefully you have another product that you want to set up again. So you want to just set up a new email series. You can just keep tacking them on, and they'll just keep going out in sequence. You can ahead of time. You can go in your drafts and set them all up, and then when you're ready, move them into this legacy follow-up series, and then they'll start getting a new set of 7 or however many for your other products. So maybe you have something that's a complementary to this, or you have an entirely different deal, or an entirely different product. So start thinking ahead. Or if you just have this one, I don't know if I would try to send to these people again. You might send just 1, maybe 2, like every month or so. And then if you see that those emails that people start unsubscribing a lot, then that means you're probably hitting them too hard, and I would back off, maybe remove those emails. But if people are buying, a month or 2 out, then great. And I didn't really talk about segmenting these or putting these into campaigns. That's a lot more complicated, and it's kind of too much to take in at this point. And this is going to be plenty useful to you to just get leads in, send a straightforward follow-up sequence, and get some people to buy your product. All right, well, that's it for day 5.